What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today is May the 9th. Happy Friday, everyone. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before I get into any of that though, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. Starting off with data points, don't really have a whole lot. We have a lot of Fed speakers though. So that I feel like is causing the market a little bit of uncertainty. And this is most likely why you kind of have the futures dipping a little bit. But luckily enough, Trump just came out roughly about an hour or so with this right here. So tariffs on China are currently set at 145%. He has flip-flopped quite a lot, saying that 145 is kind of firm, not going to budge from that. Then he did state and alluded to between 50 and 55 yesterday. It looks as though he might be settling on 80%. At least it's moving in the right direction. Market's liking that. Negotiations with China do start tomorrow on Saturday, so maybe this is what the States is willing to offer. So we'll kind of have to wait and see what does come, but futures are looking pretty good still, nice and green. Dow is up 0.23, S&P up 0.31, and NASDAQ up 0.42. But anticipate, like I said, a lot of volatility today and a lot of kind of hot topics brought up. Aside from that though, fear and greed index is under the greed category, meaning people's appetite for risk is on the table. But starting off, SoFi. So SoFi is just piggybacking off the market, moving higher. It's definitely done a lot better this week, which is kind of comical. The week of their earnings, they did go down to roughly, I think it was like 3.5–4%. And so far, we are up over the last 5 days, 4.53%. So kind of comical if you ask me, but today as well, with it being Friday, just take note of this. So these are the open interest for the options. So potentially if SoFi does gain some good momentum to roughly around that 1350 or better yet 14, you could see shorts get a little bit more active because there is 21,000 at that 1350, 17,000 at that 14. So just somewhat be aware of that. Shorts aren't doing anything pre-market. They are currently sitting at 13.69%. So again, they might get a little bit more active near the end of the day, depending on where SoFi is. With it right now at 1338, trading between these 2 points. So 1413 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And then, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I don't see this pivot point being touched, at least for the foreseeable future. Ticker is MLGO. They are having a abnormal amount of volume despite it being relatively flat. No news, no SEC filings from them. They did put out some news yesterday afternoon, but it doesn't look it's not appealing to me at least. So one thing that I've really called out a company on is just PR blitzes. They just put out a lot of hype news, nothing concrete. And a stock that typically follows MLGO, which is ticker HOLO, did the exact same thing. They just were simply trying to hype up investors to get them and incentivize them to buy. This, over the last little bit, is starting to remind me of that. So yes, you can make money with this stock as it kind of moves higher, as I've accurately predicted in the past, but this is one of those ones that you want to be very cautious in holding long term. So again, no volume or anything, but just watch for a lot of the key levels. And right now with at 251, it's below all of them. So you pretty much have that 287 and then 36 cents as kind of the key points, resistance and targets, and then as well as support. So moral of the story, you can definitely swing trade it. It might actually go to that 287, but I think the likelihood of more downside is definitely there. A lot of individuals, I'm sure, will say that it's a squeeze play. 15.52% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 3.3 million shares. So I wouldn't really say it's a squeeze play because regardless, any stock to really move higher, you need a catalyst. Stocks just generally do not move higher, even if shorts are in it. So it needs that good catalyst, and I don't feel like the company has anything. But Moving on to ticker Wolf, and so it is down 20%. They did have their earnings, not necessarily the best. It is heavily shorted, so 41.9% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 64.6 million shares overall are being shorted. It is on the threshold list, and it looks as though it's been on the threshold list for a short term since it looks like May the 7th. So in theory, you won't see the SEC kind of interjecting or doing anything at all. Once it gets closer to that 13 consecutive day mark, then they will. But until that point, it is what it is. Aside from that, with at 355, trading right between the R1 and the pivot. So 344 is a good support level. Then 445 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. ASST, so sitting at 769, it is up 1.43%. And when it comes to them, there hasn't been any news since the 7th. So they were very popular yesterday, and it made my top list. In fact, I even did post it on my Patreon as it being a good buy signal. It still did go up 126% yesterday. So this stock obviously doesn't have that much in daily updates, but big money has really selected this stock to really move it higher. So kind of just keep that in mind. It is above all the key pivotal moving averages that I generally like to look at, but 23.34% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 2.93 million shares. Looking historically, they do tend to be very active shorts. So every time the stock does start to build some good momentum, you see it really double down and increase. So let me know your thoughts on that. When it comes down to the news, though, on May the 7th, it is relatively good. And with cryptocurrency being very popular, this stock should do fairly well at the end of the day. So let me know your thoughts on that. And then last but not least, ticker is IOVA. So they did miss on their earnings, getting a lot of volume, down 35%. It right now is 27.85% of the free float being shorted, so somewhat heavily shorted, 70.13 million shares overall. And shorts have been really just maintaining, and this is something that you need to be aware of. If shorts just get in and out really fast, that's, again, it's a different type of strategy. This one is slow and steady, so they are really been just lingering for a while, and they are pretty much hell-bent on the company failing. So that's how I see this type of kind of short activity. But given right now everything, it is below all the key pivotal moving averages. So 236, just watch for that to be the next strong target, and hopefully for it to kind of recover above that today. If not, you're going to see a further pullback in the next couple trading days. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. Is there any other stocks that's floating about? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been exactly on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.